In an unprecedented diplomatic snub that has sent shockwaves through the global elite, India's Ministry of External Affairs reportedly denied Meghan Markle's visa request ahead of the highly anticipated Miss World 2025 Grand Final. According to sources close to the situation, the former Duchess of Sussex had intended to make a high-profile appearance at the global pageant, possibly as a guest speaker or honorary judge. Butler was curtly informed by Indian officials that her presence was not needed. The rebuff has not only embarrassed the Sussex camp but also raised pointed questions about Meghan's global reputation, perceived entitlement, and relevance in the post-royal era. This incident marks a stark turning point for Meghan, who, since her departure from the British royal family alongside Prince Harry in 2020, has strived to reinvent herself as a global humanitarian, media mogul, and modern feminist icon. Yet, critics argue that much of this rebranding has come off as self-serving and performative, a sentiment that may have played a role in India's decision. The Indian government, known for its diplomacy-first approach, rarely issues such dismissive denials, especially to international figures. That they chose to do so in this case is telling. Sources within the Miss World organization have hinted that Meghan's team had reached out proactively, expressing interest in being involved in the grand final, which is set to take place in Mumbai later this year. The pitch reportedly framed her as a champion of women's empowerment, claiming that her presence would elevate the global visibility of the event. But Indian officials and pageant organizers were apparently unconvinced. An insider described the response from the Indian side as polite but firm, concluding with a pointed message: "This event is about celebrating authentic stories of resilience and beauty. We believe Meghan Markle's involvement would not align with that purpose." Observers argue that the rebuke reflects growing international fatigue over Meghan's polarizing persona. From her infamous Oprah Winfrey interview to her Netflix documentary series and podcast ventures, Meghan has repeatedly portrayed herself as a victim of systemic injustice, a narrative that many now view with increasing skepticism. Critics say she weaponizes race, feminism, and media narratives not to raise awareness or inspire change, but to maintain her own celebrity relevance. In India especially, where public figures are often expected to be grounded and socially committed, Meghan's perceived sense of entitlement may have struck a particularly sour chord. Her previous controversies, including her accusations against the British royal family and repeated clashes with the press, are widely reported in Indian media, often accompanied by op-eds questioning her sincerity and motives. In this context, her bid to appear at Miss World, a national pride event, may have been interpreted not as a gesture of support but as an attempt to hijack the spotlight. Even more damning is the speculation that Meghan had hoped to use the event as part of a larger media strategy. Industry insiders note that her brand, Archwell, has seen dwindling influence, with multiple projects either shelved or receiving lukewarm reception. Her podcast deal with Spotify famously fell apart in 2023, and subsequent attempts to relaunch her public image have struggled to gain traction. Appearing at a glitzy international event like Miss World might have offered a much-needed photo op and PR boost, one that India firmly denied her. The Indian embassy's statement on the matter, while brief, further cemented the narrative. Visa applications are evaluated based on purpose, relevance, and national interest. "We exercise discretion where necessary," a spokesperson said. Though diplomatic in tone, the subtext was hard to miss. India was drawing a line in the sand, a bold move in an era where celebrity influence often overrides official protocol. Unsurprisingly, Meghan's camp has remained tight-lipped. A source close to her told UK media that she was disappointed by the outcome and surprised by the lack of diplomatic courtesy. But others see this as yet another example of Meghan believing she is owed access and attention simply by virtue of her name, a belief that more and more institutions around the world seem unwilling to validate. In the end, this episode could mark a broader shift in how the global stage views Meghan Markle. While once hailed as a disruptor and feminist trailblazer, she now finds herself increasingly portrayed as a self-appointed global influencer, one whose message is often lost in the noise of her own controversies. India's refusal to welcome her to Miss World 2025 may not be the last time a nation, or institution, decides that Meghan Markle is simply not needed. For many, this moment feels like a symbolic reckoning, a clear message that not every platform is available for the taking, even for someone with global name recognition. Meghan Markle's strategy of positioning herself as a humanitarian voice while frequently centering her own grievances seems to be wearing thin internationally. While the Western press often shields her from deeper scrutiny, countries like India, with their own nuanced understanding of influence, authenticity, and social responsibility, are beginning to push back. The optics of this rejection are impossible to ignore. Miss World is an event deeply rooted in values of service, cultural pride, and real-world impact traits that many feel Meghan's brand no longer convincingly embodies. Her attempt to step into a space that honors genuine stories of perseverance, particularly in a country that takes these narratives seriously, appears to have backfired. Rather than elevating the platform, her presence risked overshadowing it. What remains to be seen is how Meghan will recalibrate from this diplomatic blow. One thing is certain, the global stage is evolving, and performative activism without substance is being challenged more than ever. For Meghan Markle, the question now isn't where she wants to be, it's whether anyone still wants her there.